Listen, I'm about to get into the biggest rant I think I've ever done on this show. So if you're not prepared, please get ready. And before we get to that, I just want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Damgina. Damgina is the performance marketing agency that I run. And we've just launched recently a new service, which is for podcasters. So if you're a podcaster or if you're thinking about becoming a podcaster, we can help. We just launched this new service. It's called Podcast Management and Marketing. And basically what it means is exactly that. We'll take your raw files, so what you've filmed, what you've recorded, and then we'll publish them in a way that's really good production value, okay? Because we've done this a lot over the last few years. We've worked with clients. We obviously do our own podcast, this podcast right here that you're looking at, you're watching maybe, or listening to. We make it sound great. We make it look great. We do all the little tricks in the book, okay? And then we publish it to all the platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. And then we create marketing clips. So we'll create 3 marketing clips per episode, and then we'll publish them to all of your popular and preferred social media platforms. So we do all of that for you. It takes a ton of time out of the whole process of running a podcast so that you can focus on the stuff that's more important, like strategy, like content, like networking. These things get neglected when you're the one that has to do all of that work. So I've never seen anything like this before, which is why we're so proud and so excited to launch this, especially not at this price point. There's no minimum contract, so you can join, you can leave whenever you want. Go ahead, click the link, I'll put it here, and then sign up. We'll be with you there all the way. If you have any questions, let us know. With that said, let's get straight to the podcast episode. I hope you enjoy this one. Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Unleash Love. My name is Clemo Young, and I'm your host. And today I am talking to you about lying, lies, betrayals, deceit, all of that good stuff. Listen, I already recorded this before, but I did it on my phone because I thought I wasn't going to have time to use this setup with the nice webcam and the microphone and all that kind of stuff. So this is second time around. So hopefully it's going to be a lot better. But you might have noticed I have a strange sounding voice this time, and it's because I have gone through the worst seasonal flu. It's not COVID, it's just seasonal flu. Everyone's getting it right now here in Medellin, and I was one of those unlucky people, and it just took me out. I was in bed for a couple of days with a fever, and then it took me about 3 days after that to get to this point, which is where I'm almost recovered. And it's harsh. There's still stuff out there that's going to take you out, not just COVID, but regular good old colds and flus. Anyway, I'm on the mend. I'm almost there. And what I want to talk to you about is lying, like I said, or the ability to not lie. It might sound really silly to bring that up. It might sound stupid as a topic because obviously we know you shouldn't lie, right? That's not something we're debating. Well, instead, what I want to do is I want to bring to your attention the white lies, the half truths, the principles behind, being 100% genuine and authentic and transparent. Ray Dalio's book is going to be mentioned quite a lot in this conversation because he wrote a whole book called Principles. I've brought this up before, where he outlines how he lives his life, what kind of rules he sets for himself, and what kind of parameters for any situation. And it works well. I mean, we should trust people like him because he's had a very successful career. He seems to be able to make really complex, difficult decisions, not just for himself, but for his clients as well. So books like that really help us to become more effective, better people, not just for ourselves, but for the community. Because remember, we're all in this together, right? This is a team game. It's not a lone wolf game. Someone said lone wolf. I was reading my Instagram feed, and notice how I said reading my Instagram feed. Now, I have really tailored my Instagram feed to be just purely good stuff. It's no longer toxic videos and photographs or selfies of people. I got rid of all of that stuff. Now it's tips, tricks, it's insights, it's people's epiphanies, it's good stuff. So I was reading this post from someone recently. Can't remember the name. I wish I could. I'd reference her. But she said, ladies, don't trust a man who's a lone wolf, who rides by himself, who doesn't have a clique, because these people are going to get you into trouble. They're the ones that don't play life by the same rules as everyone else. They're the ones that don't care about their repercussions. And she may be onto something there. There's a bit of truth in that. We're a community. We are supposed to be in social groups. We're supposed to be learning from each other, sharing, getting feedback. So anyway, I thought that was a pretty cool thing to bring into this conversation. Getting back to the subject, lying. Again, everyone knows you shouldn't lie, but everyone does. Everyone lies, whether it's a small lie or a big lie. And it's not the small lies that get us in trouble. It's the big ones. It's when we land in that big story about something that we've kind of convinced ourselves is true just because we're so deep in this now. We're so invested in this lie that we can't let it fail. It's too big to fail. Oh my God. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? So how do we even get there? I mean, okay, I genuinely believe that human beings, unless there's something seriously wrong with your brain, right? It's deformed or it's damaged, or you've had a particularly crazy development, like from your early years. I truly believe that every single one of us has a conscience. And the conscience exists because we are pack animals, because we need to be able to work together and help each other so that we can survive as a species, right? It makes a lot of sense. So if you're a healthy human being, right, then you're going to have this conscience. And you can tell lies your whole life, right? You can be encouraged to tell lies even. I mean, even culture teaches us to tell lies, to be able to take advantage of people, manipulate people, right? Because it's cool or because it's just what people do. And that's how you become successful in life. That's how you sell. That's how you make money. That's how you get famous, right? You have to do whatever to get to the top. Now that's a cultural thing. And we learn these things and we convince ourselves it's okay. It's fine. That's just how you live life. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people do live life by those weird corrupted values and those beliefs. But I tell you something, when you get to the end of your life, just like many other people have told us, right? There are people who have been on their deathbeds who have explained all the things that they wish they could have changed, that they wish they could go back and do again. Taking advantage of people, lying so that they can get their leg up on the competition or so they can put themselves in a better position relatively to the others, right? Is something they wish they maybe didn't do. Maybe they could go back and be more of a community person, give more to charity, help more in the community, be a more of a beacon of light, right? For humanity. That's what most people want. That's what healthy people want. So do not let anyone tell you that lying is okay, because it's not. Look, I lied. I've lied my whole life, just like everybody else. Not about everything. Come on, I'm not that bad. But I've lied about a lot of things. I've lied in relationships. I've lied to my family. I've lied to myself. Holy crap. Lying to yourself is where it all begins. Lying to yourself is the worst lie too, because that's where it all comes from. That's where it stems from. You got to be able to tell yourself the truth. The truth hurts to hear. Hey, you know what? The truth hurts so much that's why we don't tell other people the truth. When we think, okay, this person smells of body odor. This is a really, really popular one, isn't it? We always hear this. Oh my God, she smelled so bad. But I couldn't say anything because I don't want to hurt her feelings. What am I going to do? Tell her that she's got body odor? I mean, yeah, I guess so. What else are you going to do? You can't just deal with it and breathe it in. You can't not see them anymore, or you can. That's what happens sometimes, I guess. You just stop hanging out with someone because they don't have good hygiene. But let's think about this logically for a moment, just for a moment. Something that can hurt someone's feelings is potentially really good feedback for them. Otherwise, they're never going to learn. Think about all the times that someone's hurt your feelings, but they've done it because they wanted the best for you. They had your best interests at heart, right? Think about all those times. What would have happened if to you if they hadn't been that kind of person, right? Maybe you would have ended up somewhere completely different. Maybe you would have been so naive by now because, hey, if you could make the whole world not upset you or hurt your feelings, you'd be living in a bubble. That's what it's called. It's called living in a bubble of denial or ignorance. When you live in a bubble of denial or ignorance, you become weak, super weak, because all these things that hurt your feelings or question whether you're doing the right thing, even your identity, are feedback to get you to the point where you need to be, get you back to center again. Center is where you need to be, right? Let's just say that center is your path through life, and that center is what it means to be on track with the highest version of yourself. When you veer off center because, maybe you're trying something new, maybe you've got a new idea, maybe someone convinced you about something. When you veer off center, you need feedback to get you back there. And if you remove that feedback by taking away people who are going to tell you, hey, buddy, you're fucking up, you're messing up, right? Those hard cases who they don't care if you like them or not. In fact, some of them enjoy it. Some people enjoy rubbing you the wrong way. But that's because they know what they're doing, right? Some people know that they're doing something really good, that's what their job is. Some people take pride in that. Anyway, you need to come back to center again. So living in a bubble, which is what people around the world right now are being encouraged to do, to create a bubble for everyone who gets offended, right? That's what the woke movement is. If you're supporting the cancel culture mob, if you're supporting the let's not offend anyone mob, right? Essentially what you're trying to do, and I mean this with all due respect. Like I'm not saying this to upset people again, right? Like I'm giving you a disclaimer right now. If you're supporting trigger culture, which is like, let's make everyone aware of when something might hurt their feelings. I mean, to a certain degree, that's kind of okay because that's why we have ratings for movies and stuff. But it gets to the very micro level of every single daily interaction now, right? That's where we're headed. We need to be very careful about not upsetting people. And you know why? It's because people want to live in bubbles. They've become weak. They don't want to challenge themselves. Getting back to the point, right? Getting back to the point. I believe most people will regret having lived a life of taking advantage of others and not being honest and genuine and true. Because if they were honest and genuine and true, they wouldn't take advantage of other people, right? It wouldn't even be possible because those people would always be aware of what's really going on. And there's a lot of overlap here between the topics we talk about at Unleash Love. Communication, right? Knowing your why. Like what the hell are you trying to do here on this planet? What's your goal in life? Where are you headed? Can you get clear on that? A lot of people lie because they're not clear about what they really want to do in life. If they were clear, they could find a very genuine, authentic way to get there and to get other people to help them to get there. You see, the thing is when you don't know where you're going and you're scared and you're worried and you're confused, you might resort to trying to come off as someone that you're not. Telling people a story about you so that they can love you, so that they can accept you, so that you can feel like you're part of the group, like you're welcome. That's just a normal human trait. But once you know your why, you don't need that stuff anymore. Once you know your worth, your self-worth, you don't need to lie to anybody anymore. It doesn't matter to you because you are enough already. That's why I say you should love yourself first. That's why everyone says you should love yourself first. And I believe most people are like this. So that's why, people regret this when they're about to pass away or later on in life. They're like, holy crap, why was I like that? Why was I always trying to get a leg up? Short term versus long term. Short term, is instant gratification. You've heard of it before. It's when you can't wait for something. You have to have the pleasure right now. You have to have the hit right now. Instant gratification breeds addicts. All right. And lying and being manipulative in your behavior is one of the traits of an addict. They need what they're looking for. They need that feeling of pleasure, of release. They need to be numbed. They need that money. They need that sense of self-worth. They need it right now. They can't wait. So what they're going to do, they're going to find all the different tricks in the book to manipulate everybody else, including themselves. Like I said, first lie that you make is a lie to yourself to be able to get there, to be able to get the instant gratification. But long-term delayed gratification is where it's really at. They tell you about that in the investment training, right? They tell you about that in relationship counseling. They tell that to you about anything that's worth having in life. Delayed gratification is the skill to be successful in life. When you can delay your gratification, you don't need to implement crappy little short-term manipulative techniques because you're building your future one step at a time. You know exactly where you need to go. You know exactly what you're trying to do. You know how much you're worth. See, delayed gratification is all about being patient. It's all about trusting the process, trusting in yourself, trusting in your partner if you're in a relationship, right? Trusting in the journey together. Where are we going? Oh, well, I love this person. I want to spend the rest of my life with them. And every day is a blessing. See, if you don't feel that way about your partner, you're going to cheat on them. You're going to do something stupid. Why do you even have a relationship with them? Is it convenience? Is it comfort? Usually. Is it a stature thing? Is it like a social stratification tool? Does it make you look better? I mean, there are so many things that we can analyze about why people lie, manipulate in relationships, even specifically. So clarity, I guess, right? The ability to delay gratification is huge. Self-awareness. Like I said, the first lie begins with you. How are we going to stop lying to ourselves? We got to be self-aware. We've got to already be familiar with this subject. Oh my God, I'm lying to myself all the time. Okay, when am I lying to myself? Am I going to notice it? I got to pay attention to this now. How do I know if I'm lying to myself? Well, you got to know what it is you're trying to do. You got to know who you are as a person, what your principles are, what your values are, what you stand for. And once you know those things, anything that stands out, anything that looks out of place, it's probably a lie. It's probably some kind of defense mechanism or trauma coming back to haunt you. You're justifying some kind of behavior. There's a lot of things that it could be. But that self-awareness is another huge, huge tool in the toolkit to be able to live a life of genuineness. Look, I'll give you an example. Just the other day, actually yesterday, I was in the mall with my girlfriend. We went to a fragrance store. I invited her out of the blue to go to a fragrance store with me. She was like, why? I said, because I'm going to look for fragrances. So we went there. I started spraying on the testing papers, some of the perfumes for her, for women. And she was confused. She was like, why, what are you interested in women's fragrances for? I'm like, I don't like wearing them. I'm just, maybe you like some of these. Maybe, do you like the smell of this one? What about this one? And she was like, nope, nope, nope. And I was getting frustrated. And she asked me, I already have fragrances. Why are you doing this? And I said, I want to buy you a fragrance. And she seemed confused. And she was like, no, I don't want it. And I said, okay, this is where I was truthful with her, because up until that point, I'd been kind of lying a little bit. I said, I don't like what you wear is a fragrance. It doesn't smell good to me. I didn't say it like that. I said it like a joke, like a kind of like a funny thing, like a, hey, well, babe, I don't like what you wear. It doesn't smell that great, you know? I mean, okay, I just try to make it sound like it wasn't so harsh, and it isn't harsh, but I don't want to hurt her feelings. This is a white lie. I should have said it from the beginning. I should have been 100% clear. Going back to Ray Dalio's book, one of his principles is radical transparency. And he talks about it in a business perspective. He talks about it like if you have a team, if you are a leader in an organization, there are times where you should be radically transparent. Not all the time as a leader, right? A leader needs to at least be able to motivate and inspire and keep the morale high. You can't tell everybody the company's going down the drain if you're trying to keep morale high. But in your personal life, radical transparency is a very, very effective, very good piece of advice. Because if you can have radical transparency with your partner, guess what? Trust goes through the roof. Even if what you're saying hurts her feelings or his feelings. If they know that any time they ask you how you really think or feel, that you're going to tell them the truth. Like if they say to you, honey, does my, does this dress look good on me? And you say no, because X, Y, Z. I mean, give them a reason. Don't be a dick. Give them a reason. If you do that consistently, it won't take long for you to push your trust right through the roof. Even if they're like, oh my God, I spent so much money on this dress though. I mean, that's good feedback. That means maybe don't spend that much money on dresses that you haven't asked your partner about in the future. Or maybe that means, okay, my partner doesn't think it's nice, but I think it's nice, so I'm going to wear it anyway. You know what I mean? It's up to you. At least you know you're getting the right feedback, accurate feedback. So that was a white lie that I told to my partner. And I got to be honest with you, it was a mistake. I wish I had just told her from the very beginning, because what happened was we were all of a sudden in a fragrance store picking out fragrances for her. She didn't want to be there. She didn't know what we were doing. She didn't want me to spend money on her. That's just the kind of person she is. She's very frugal. And now all of a sudden she felt bad because I broke it to her in a way that was awkward. People were watching us, like not when I told her that, but there were people in the store. That's the kind of thing you don't want your partner to be telling you out in public. So I was really insensitive, actually. But I was insensitive because I got to the point where the lie wasn't working anymore. It wasn't working for me. And so I thought to myself, well, I might as well just tell her the truth. And I told her the truth, and it was the wrong timing, and it ruined everything. And now she doesn't want to have fragrance, right? Because she feels bad about it. So I have to deal with that crappy fragrance all the time. No, but she'll get over it. And I apologized to her and everything, and I said, I should have told you this from the beginning. And look, I don't lie in a relationship about nearly as many things as I used to lie about. Because again, I wasn't sure about what I wanted from the relationship. I wasn't sure about myself, about my self-worth. I felt like I needed to make things up for my partner to like me or to want to be with me, or so that I could get away with things that I was doing out of just lack of clarity, like cheating. Like if I had cheated on my partner, that's the biggest lie. It's a betrayal. And you're doing it consciously because you're not clear. So anyway, listen, if there's anything you want to take away from today's conversation or monologue, it's that there is a way to have a better quality, not just relationship, but life. Because at the moment, we're going through some very hard times. We're in a crisis situation, socially, culturally, where somehow we have a need to live in a bubble where we don't get upset or offended. And that is not going to serve us or our children for the long term. We need to be strong. We need to be able to deal with what people really think and feel. We need to be able to hear it so that we can deal with it, so that we can communicate, so that we don't divide and find it hard to mobilize against common threats. I don't want to get too deep with this conversation, but we're in some very dangerous waters right now, and we need leaders. We need people who are fierce. We need people who are in touch with themselves, who won't lie, who won't bend the truths so that it's easier to swallow. Because when you do that, as I said, it's not a strength, it's a weakness, and it delays the inevitable. The inevitable is that everybody finds out eventually, right? If there's one thing you want to walk away from today, it's that. It's that we need strong people today. So, how can you do that? One of the ways is to get good at not lying to yourself and others. Start telling the truth. Have you ever seen The Yes Man, the movie with Jim Carrey? You might be a bit too young for that. But The Yes Man is a great movie. It's a comedy. It's funny. It's about a guy who gets kind of spellbound to just always say yes to things, right? Questions, requests. And he transforms his life. He starts living a completely different life, right? He can't lie anymore, right? Anyway, check that out. Think about the things that I mentioned in this conversation. There is a way. Ray Dalio's Principles book. You can buy that. You can read that. I'll put the link here in the description. And I wish you the best with it. I hope that you got a lot of value from this rant that I had. And I will be seeing you on the next episode. So tune in again. Be safe. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe today and you won't miss the next episode. We cover topics like recovering from infidelity, online dating, managing chronic anxiety, and so much more. We're on all the popular platforms, so take your pick, and we'll see you soon.